Of the 50 states in the USA, Utah is the 45th to be established. Being a younger western state, it doesn't have as many sites of historical significance as many of the eastern states do. However, the region came to the national spotlight when the two halves of the Transcontinental Railroad were joined with a golden spike. The year was 1869, and Utah was still just a territory. Two large railroad companies, Central Pacific and Union Pacific, had been working tirelessly to connect their lines across opposite starting locations. Today, we refer to this historic track as the first transcontinental railroad because there have been more transcontinental lines since then. However, at the time it was referred to as the Pacific Railroad, hence the company names. The railroad was nearing completion, so after some planning, it was decided that they should meet up at none other than Promontory Point. This is kind of empty, and I thought there'd be like a Golden Spike Museum, and there's a whole bunch of water over there. This doesn't seem like the right place. That's because it isn't the right place. It seems to be common knowledge that the railroad was finished at Promontory Point, but that just isn't true. Press coverage in 1869 used the name of a different nearby location, and the error has persisted in the public mind for over 150 years. The newspapers aren't to blame, however, as it was actually Congress that officially designated the meeting point under the wrong name. There is a modern railroad that goes through Promontory Point, but it wasn't constructed until the 20th century. The point is on the bottom of a peninsula in the Great Salt Lake, so crossing through it requires 12 miles of bridges through salt water. Perhaps the engineers of the 19th century considered this approach, but they ultimately chose a more cost-effective route across dry land. That means the true location where the Golden Spike was driven is 30 miles north of Promontory Point at a place called Promontory Summit. That was a long walk. This is Promontory Summit, the true location where the railroad was finalized. Once home to the Golden Spike, it's now home to Golden Spike National Historic Park. Behind this building is where it all happened. The ceremony was originally supposed to happen on May 8th, but the car carrying the Union Pacific Vice President Thomas Durant was delayed. The railroad company had not been diligent in paying their workers, and so it goes that they took control of his rail car in the middle of Wyoming and would not let him go until they got their wages. Some modern historians suspect that this didn't actually happen. There is some evidence suggesting that the delay was actually because the Devil's Gate Bridge was in disrepair, but the ransom story is much more entertaining. Whatever the true reason for the delay was, the day finally came on May 10th, 1869. Crowds gathered as either company positioned an ornate steam engine on their side of the track. Central Pacific's Jupiter on the west side, and Union Pacific's 119 on the east side. The Golden Spike was situated in a pre-drilled hole and attached to telegram wire so that the nation would be able to hear it being tapped in. Leland Stanford, president of Central Pacific, swung and missed. He handed the silver-plated hammer off to Thomas Durant, safe from his alleged encounter in Wyoming. Durant also missed his swing, but the telegram operator declared the job done anyway. The Golden Spike was hastily recovered, along with the other 3 spikes. That's right, there were 4 spikes involved. Here we have the Golden Spike, also called the last spike, as it was the final one to be put in place. It can currently be found at Stanford University. There is the second gold spike as well, which is not super well documented, and the current whereabouts are unknown. Now here we have the Nevada silver spike, also can be found at Stanford University. And finally, we have the Arizona gold and silver spike, which can be found at the Museum of the City of New York. Now, in addition to the 4 ceremonial spikes, there was also a polished laurel wood tie with a plaque. I really like the way that the Golden Spike National Historic Park presents its replica of the tie. It would have been the last object to be recovered after the ceremony, so it's positioned somewhat sloppily between four vacant holes, as though the ceremony took place mere moments ago. The park also boasts working replicas of the Jupiter and the 119, actively maintained inside their workshop. These engines are used every year in a reproduction of the original May 10th ceremony. The park is open year-round, and it's worth a visit if you're ever in the area. Thank you for coming along with me as we explored Utah's first moment in the national spotlight.
You want to
Is that
say
good?
anything else? Yeah.
That's it.